we can see. Can we leave our fear of the unknown far behind? Let us leave home deep in the unknown far and wide. We are born and we die like the stars. We can dream of a moment on Mars. We can burn through our days like the sun. Give us time to realize we are one. We are one. Can we leave our fear of the unknown far behind? Let us leave home deep in the unknown far and wide. What will we find? What will we do? Floating in time. Measure the light, find a new home, distance inside. What will we find? What will we do? Floating in time. Measure the light, find a new home, distance inside. Can we leave our fear of the unknown far behind? Let us leave home deep in the unknown far and wide. Can we leave our fear of the unknown far behind? Let us leave home deep in the unknown far and wide.
And here we are in the crew dining room, where we see the STS-87 mission emblem cake. Mission specialist Winston Scott will be doing the EVA on this flight. Mission specialist Takao Doi also will be doing an EVA on this mission. Our commander Kevin Kriegel for the STS-87 flight. Our payload specialist Leonid Kadynyuk from the Ukraine. Mission specialist Kalpna Chawla, who will be operating the RMS for the Spartan deployment. And finally, our pilot Steve Lindsay, sprint camera mission on other things. Suit up with our STS-87 astronauts. With our commander, Kevin Kriegel. Camera. And mission specialist Kalpna Chawla.
Setting your dreams of heaven on fire. Bring on the wrecking machine.
Cowboy.
Bring on the
EVA.
wrecking machine. Gonna ignite your every desire. Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city you burn, let it burn, let it burn, let it burn.
Ukraine, who will be investigating plant growth biology.
For every city you burn, I'm gonna build one.
This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 2 hours, 56 minutes, 55 seconds and counting, where we see the STS-87 astronauts now are entering the elevator for the ride down 2 floors from the astronaut quarters to the astronaut van, which will transport them the approximately 7-mile distance out to launch pad 39B, a ride which will take approximately 20 minutes or so. And we see some KSC employees behind the chain. The Astrovan now approaching the pad perimeter, where they'll then leave the van and go up the elevator to the orbiter access arm and meet the closeout crew ready to assist them in boarding Columbia and into their seats. And here we see our Commander Kevin Kriegel preparing to board Columbia. And there, Takao Doi is the mission specialist who will be boarding next here very shortly, as soon as Kevin Kriegel boards the orbiter.
Well, this is actually a view from the flight deck, and now he's climbing up into the commander's seat. Keep in mind that everything is in the vertical here. He's getting assistance from another astronaut, astronaut Joe Tanner. Right now he's just positioning himself in the seat. It's very important that they get in the seat straight. They've got some emergency oxygen bottles strapped to their back on the harness, and then they'll be laying on top of the parachute. And they could be in there for upwards of 3+ hours today. And it's very important that he's in a position where nothing is in his back. And there'll be 2 people working on him. There's several connections. Here you see Takao Doi getting into the mid-deck, and what we try and do here is strap one person at a time in both the flight deck and mid-deck. So this Takao is MS-3, and he'll be assisted by another strap-in personnel on the mid-deck. Now once Kevin is strapped in and has his cooling and oxygen hooked up, they'll begin to put on his helmet. And that cord there will be hooked up for his communications. Following his strap-in, they'll do some communications checks just to make sure that everything's in line before they move on to the next crew member. Here's a shot of Leonid in the white room. Looks like he's got his harness on, and he'll be waiting to be the second person on the mid-deck. There's the pilot, Steve Lindsay, climbing into the flight deck. He'll ask Steve to reach up and grab 2 handholds, and this particular maneuver here is very similar to just doing a pull-up. He's pulling himself up into the seat, getting his feet in position. Joe, you see, is holding on to his emergency oxygen bottles to keep them on each side of the parachute, and then they'll begin the process all over again of getting Steve positioned correctly on the parachute for comfort. Here's a great shot of Leonid. He's in the seat now, the second crew member on the mid-deck. They'll be hooking up his cooling at this time. This is our first flight of a Ukrainian on the shuttle.
CTLS, what is it?
TLS, go.
Yeah, 534, pick up by the clock.
Okay, TLS copies, and we need a CMQC on channel 162, and we need to read step 535 on the OIS.
NTD, MS1, contact.
MS1, it's NTD. Good morning, I've got you out on clear, KC.
Good morning, Doug. I also have you loud and clear.
Attention all stations, this is the MTD performing a launch status check. Verify ready to resume count and go for launch. Say go, no go. OTC. Go. TDC. Tank and super go. CTC. Go. LPS. Go. Houston flight.
Houston flights go.
Mila. Miles go. SCM. SCM go. Safety console. Safety console go. SCE. SCE go. LRD. LRDs go. SRO. SROs go. You have a range clear to launch. And CDR. Columbia's a go. And I copy all launch director NCDs. Launch team is ready to proceed. Copy that. I'll do a poll. Payload director. Payload to go. Engineering director. Engineering go. Safety and mission assurance. Safety and mission assurances go. Range weather. Roger sure. No mistake launch. Copy that. I'm pilot. MSC is go for launch. Copy that. And Columbia looks like we're ready to go. NPD, you're clear to launch. Have a great mission. Let's go over the access army track.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7.
Of Columbia, looking back aft. On the right side is Commander Kriegel, left side Steve Lindsay in the foreground, flight engineer Winston Scott directly in the middle behind them, and to his right mission specialist Kalpana Chawla. This video of the
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Engine start. 5, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia at initial landing science. Practical aspects of space. Officer confirms good separation of solid rocket boosters.
hitching a ride, hitching a ride. Gotta get me home to my favorite side. Ride, 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 hitching a ride.
Good morning, Columbia. What a ride, and early handover in 5 seconds.
The crew is planning to work with a number of experiments that are associated with the United States microgravity payload, which is a platform of experiments in the payload bay overseen by NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. Those experiments are mounted on the support structure in the back end of Columbia's payload bay, which is also filled with that Spartan satellite and also the extended duration orbiter pallet of cryogenics. There's a series of experiments. The one on the television now, the downlink from the orbiter, is the isothermal dendritic growth experiment, which is an experiment that hopefully may improve manufacturing processes involved in the production of steel, aluminum, and various superalloys that are used in the production of automobiles and airplanes. The investigation is designed to unlock advanced processes that will create some new alloys that may be stronger, that may even have better control and more reliable properties than are currently available here on Earth.
Houston, Columbia for Solcy.
And go ahead for Solcy.
Come on, just to be sure we're all synced up here. I have told myself to begin DTC startup in about 2 minutes, and we are all set up here to record the door opening.
And we copy, and you will start anytime, and we have it on the downlink.
Good, okay, great.
Gauges amounts of ozone present in our summer atmosphere. Also in the way is a experiment on the lower deck of Columbia in glove box unit focusing on several experiments flying in that glove box. And present is an experiment called the wedding treasures. This video is from that glove box experiment. This glove box on the lower deck of Columbia studies metal alloys and the mixing of those metal alloys and wedding effects that cause layering as those alloys are created, looking at ways that wedding can be alleviated.
Columbia, we're going to bring you to the flight deck.
And we're ready. And Kevin, we're up there with you.
Copy.
Commander Kevin Kriegel pedaling his way around the world on the bicycle ergometer down in the shuttle's crowded middeck area. This is Kriegel's third flight into space after 2 stints as a pilot aboard the shuttle Discovery on STS-70 in 1995, and again in 1996 on the STS-78 mission, which was a 2-week microgravity sciences mission aboard Columbia.
Columbia, Houston, we know you're busy, Kevin, but if someone else is available, we'd like to maneuver to that biased pitch attitude, and we've got the numbers if you need them.
Go ahead.
That's target 2, which you already have in, and then body vector 5. The pitch is 9-5. Yaw and Omicron are 0.
That's complete.
Concur.
Standing behind Kriegel down on the middeck is Ukrainian payload specialist Leonid Kadenyuk. Japanese astronaut Takao Doi poked his head up through the middeck area. Actually, the bicycle ergometer is set up on the aft flight deck of Columbia. Kadenyuk is standing near the passageway from the flight deck down to the middeck where Doi is currently located. At the aft flight deck, mission specialist Kulpna Chawla will be joined by pilot Steve Lindsay tomorrow for the operation of the shuttle's 50-foot-long robot arm and the deployment of the Spartan satellite, which is scheduled at 3:03 p.m. Central Time tomorrow afternoon. Again, Kriegel is pedaling the bicycle ergometer on the aft flight deck of Columbia, being watched by Leonid Kadenyuk, who has been operating the Q experiment today, the collaborative Ukrainian experiment, which investigates the progress of plant growth in the absence of gravity.
Columbia, Houston, for TGDF deactivation, if you could give us a status on that.
Just starting it up right now.
Copy, Steve. Columbia, Houston, the Orbit 4 shift is now trading places with Orbit 2. It's been a great first day for us. We've really enjoyed it. You're off to a great start. And Jeff Bandel is here with his team, and Ellen Ochoa will be talking to you, and look forward to tomorrow working with you on the Spartan deploy.
Hey, good morning, Columbia. And Kevin, we know the folks back home are real excited to watch the deploy today.
Good morning, Billy Mack. What a great way to wake up. I got the rest of the crew standing at attention.
This is Mission Control Houston. This live television picture from the end effector camera on the robot arm of Columbia being operated by Kolpna Chawla from the aft flight deck control panel shows the end effector being moved in place for its eventual closure on the grapple fixture on the Spartan Science satellite, which of course, as you see by the sign, is managed by the Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. The end effector now closing in for grapple on the Spartan satellite.
Columbia, Houston, everyone's go for unberth of Spartan as soon as you're in attitude.
Okay, we'll go for our berth once we're in attitude.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Columbia, Houston, you have a go for Spartan release. On time.
Roger, go for Spartan release. On time.
City burn, I'm gonna burn. Bring on the wrecking machine, setting up dreams of hell.
And Houston, we'll get a little tip-off rate. It's rolling around. We'll go ahead and match it and re-grapple.
And we copy.
Yeah, Mark, we're trying the best we can. It's got a pretty good rate on it. We're just trying to match it.
Understand. We know you're working really hard, and we're looking at other possible options, and we'll get back to you. Columbia, Houston, Kevin, for your information, we've got enough prop in the forward RCS, another 5% margin before we're going to have to make a decision about separating. We'll keep you posted on that. When we reach that point, we're going to have to go into a separation. So we'll keep you posted.
Okay, we'll try to get it.
And that would be based on separating and being able to rendezvous subsequently with it to try to get it back. Columbia, Houston, for Kevin with our early thinking on our flight plan for the next few days. When you're ready.
Go ahead.
Yes, Kevin, what we're thinking of doing is a little later on today performing a phasing burn. And tomorrow carrying on with our original plan, which is to do the EMU checkout. And the following day, performing a rendezvous with Spartan and an EVA recapture. And we would like you to do a little thinking about it. It's obviously very early in our own thinking, and we'd appreciate any feedback from you, and we'll keep you abreast of any development in this plan.
Okay. Copy all. Thanks, Mark.
And good morning, Columbia. We sure have a lot of work ahead of us. Time to roll up our sleeves, and gosh, maybe it would help if we had the Galaxy boys with us.
Ohio, Houston. Thank you very much. This is my very favorite song from my childhood, and actually I sang this song to the launch pad with my crew members. Thank you, Houston.
At the Cal, it's our pleasure. Good morning.
This is Mission Control Houston. As we heard there just a moment ago, this morning's wake-up call in honor of Mission Specialist Takao Doi, who is from Japan. The song Ginga Shunin Tai, which stands for Galaxy Boy, is actually a popular puppet show that aired on Japanese television some years ago. The show, as Takao Doi mentioned, one of his favorites in his childhood, and that is the music from that popular television show, which stands for the Galaxy Boys, a science fiction puppet show.
Kevin was in the airlock this time.
And Kevin, that's what we're seeing. Great to be with you down in the airlock or up in the airlock.
This is Mission Control Houston. This view shows Mission Specialists Takao Doi and Winston Scott as they finish up checkouts of their spacesuits that they'll wear on a spacewalk currently planned for Monday. All of that checkout going very well so far. No problems reported by the crew members. Doi and Scott will spend another couple of hours doing EVA preparations, spacewalk preparations, going through the procedures here to restow the gear in the airlock and prepare the airlock before that spacewalk. And also then going through the tools that they'll use and making other preparations to have those in order ready for the spacewalk on Monday.
Zulu, Columbia for Glove Box.
Go ahead, Casey.
Yes, if you can give us no later than, no earlier than times for sample 4, we'd appreciate.
Casey, if you can make it by putting it into heat no later than 1 hour, 53 minutes, we can do it on this pass. Otherwise, we need to wait for the next pass, and that is no earlier than 2 hours, 21 minutes, and no later than 2 hours.
Yeah, at least we can do that. We will aim to start heating at 150 or thereabouts. Definitely earlier than 153 then.
Okay, that'll be great. We can get 2 of them in on this pass.
Columbia, Houston, we really appreciate the airlock video. We'll let you get on with your work at this point.
Copy, Houston, on air to ground 2.
This television from Columbia showing payload specialist Leonid Kodnyuk as he works with the collaborative Ukrainian experiment. Kodnyuk is a Ukrainian payload specialist flying on board the shuttle, the first Ukrainian to fly on board the space shuttle. The collaborative Ukrainian experiment is a plant growth experiment that studies 10 different plant growth experiments that will operate during Columbia's 16 days in space. In conjunction with the plants and pollination of plants that is being done on board Columbia in the experiment, students are also participating by performing similar experiments on Earth, both in the U.S. and in the Ukraine. The experiment studies the effects of weightlessness on plant growth in general, and specifically on pollination of various plants and weightlessness.
And we see the happy birthday.
That, Mark, that birthday greeting was for my littlest one, Carolyn.
Copy. We'll make sure that she hears about that.
Thanks. Happy birthday, Lenny.
We mentioned just a few moments ago that there are 2 ways to retrieve the Spartan satellite, the most dangerous being the spacewalk, and retrieving it by hand. Who can speak to how dangerous it is and why?
I actually think that we've got 2 very good ways of retrieving the satellite. Of course, we've got the robotic arm, and we've done that several times. We also have retrieved a few satellites by hand. We planned these out very well in advance. We did the Intelsat rescue a couple of years ago, and I think we'll be quite successful in capturing the Spartan a couple of days from now.
Which of you actually will be positioned on board the arm, the robot arm, and then ferried out, if you will, to the Spartan satellite to try to grab it? Will that be Winston Scott?
Using the arm is certainly one option, but I think the option we're leaning towards is Takao Doi and myself being positioned on the left and right sides of the Spartan Impis. The Impis is the mounting structure that the Spartan will fit into. We're thinking that that's going to be the best position for us. And we'll both station ourselves on each side of the Impis, and we'll fly the space shuttle up to Spartan. We'll analyze its rates, and if it looks like it's slow enough and safe enough to do, Takao and I will grab it. I'd like to add that we have a lot of people taking a look at this. We've got astronauts on the ground who are practicing or testing this scenario in our neutral buoyancy lab. We have folks looking at it in the virtual reality laboratory. So we're taking a good, long, hard look at this event before we put it into action. I feel pretty confident that we can pull it off and pull it off safely.
Mr. Scott, we've been told that the satellite is spinning. Is it spinning at an incredibly fast rate, or is it just a slow spin, slow enough that you could reach out and grab it?
No, the satellite is actually spinning at a relatively slow rate. We downlinked some video of the satellite, and we had the folks on the ground look at it, and it's less than 2 degrees per second, and it's mostly about one axis. And those things are really, really good news to us, because if indeed that is the case, then Takao and I will be able to grab the satellite, and we shouldn't have any trouble with it.
Scott Lindsay, let me ask you this question. How far away are you now from the Spartan satellite, and how close will you have to get to retrieve it? And is the danger of a collision like we saw with the Russian space station Mir a possibility here?
By the way, the name is Steve, not Scott. But in fact, right now we're about 40 miles away from the Spartan satellite. As far as the rendezvous that we're going to do with it, it's a standard rendezvous that we've practiced many, many times, and we've in fact done in the shuttle many, many times. So there certainly is no danger within the rendezvous. The last portion of the rendezvous, when we get close to the satellite, is a very controlled and well-known and well-rehearsed and well-practiced maneuver, one we've done in the sim many, many times. In fact, the rendezvous we will be doing on the satellite in a few days here is not much different than what we were originally planning to do with it anyway. So there's not danger involved, and you really can't compare the two. They're different systems.
Stephen, my apologies. There are too many Scots on board the Space Shuttle Columbia. Tell me about some of the other experiments, though, that are planned during this mission.
We have a lot of experiments in the payload bay, and most of them deal with material sciences, some exciting crystal growth experiments, and some where we are trying to do measurements to an incredible accuracy. For example, an experiment from Stanford called CHECS yesterday measured the temperature of helium to a billionth of a degree Kelvin, and all of that has, of course, a lot of applications. For example, in nanotechnology and GPS and so on. Inside the mid-deck, we have a glove box, and we have 3 experiments, and we've been doing one so far. We've done 5 sample runs of this material science experiment where we are measuring or studying the wetting characteristics of 2 different liquids which are immiscible, and the principal investigators tell us that they are very excited to see the results so far.
Commander Kriegel, a question from Lee Barker in Lower Hutt, New Zealand. When going in and out of orbit, do you have to be aware of other traffic such as telecommunication satellites and space junk that may be dropping out of orbit?
Believe it or not, we do have folks looking and making sure that we stay away from other satellites or space debris, and that's tracked by the Air Force at NORAD in Colorado Springs, and they keep us well away from any kind of debris or any other kind of traffic.
Okay, real quickly, Doi-san, Nihon no minasan ni Nihongo de message onegashimasu. First in Japanese and then in English.
皆さん、ドイタ号です。宇宙からこんにちは。私たち全員、一生懸命、宇宙で、頑張って働いています。皆さんよろしく。
Real quickly, Dr. Chawla.
Hello, everybody. We are working very hard in space and also having fun watching the Earth. and praying in a microgravity condition.
Well, wish we had more time. Columbia, thank you all very much for taking time from your busy schedule. Have a successful mission and a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Columbia. We're looking forward to today's events, including the spacewalk by Winston and Takao.
Hey, good morning, Houston. We're looking forward to that also. I haven't been out yet, but I think it's a great NASA day for a spacewalk.
We think so, too.
Scott and Doy in their restraints on this television live from Columbia, showing on the left astronaut Winston Scott, and on the right astronaut Takao Doy. Scott distinguishable by red stripes on his spacesuit. In position for the retrieval of the Spartan satellite. As we continue to watch live television of the Spartan satellite. Also in view is the tip of Columbia's mechanical arm. Commander Kevin Kriegel flying Columbia around to position Scott and Doy for the capture of the satellite. Scott and Doy have been spacewalking now for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Columbia is above the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Southeast Asia. Its course will take it south above the Central Pacific.
Cal, are you able to reach the
Yes, I can reach it.
Okay, let's hold right here. Let's stop right here. Okay. Look, if you're ready, we'll do our thing.
Okay, I'm afraid you're up. You gotta go.
Okay, the Cal. Yes. Now, one more time. Can you reach the scope? Yes, I can reach it. Okay, on my signal, I am going to grab a pin and the GPS target. Okay, and as I understand it, you're going to grab the scope. Is that correct? That's correct. Okay, I'm going to give you a standby capture. That's what I will say. Okay, you understand? Yes. Okay, are you ready? Okay, standby capture. Okay, now I've got my end. I got my end. Okay, now that we've got it this going, yes, let's decide what we're going to do with it. You hold on to your canister. Yes. Let's roll the spark right so that it's level in the bay and I can reach my canister. Do you understand? Yes. Okay, let's do that very, very slowly now. We are going to pitch the spark down. Okay? Okay? Just further down. Okay, let's do that very slowly right now. That's a good rate right there, Mr. Doy. Okay? Looking good. Keep it coming, looking good. Keep it coming. Keep it coming, looking really good. Okay, let's stop right there. Okay, stop. See what we got. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I'll tell you what, we need to, let's level it out. Let's just level it. Okay? Okay. Now, let's bring it in my direction, just maybe an inch. Okay? Okay, let's stop there. And let's bring it forward about an inch. Now, let's stop there. Okay, now, can you see your guide? Your guide? I can see it. I can see mine. Okay, let's bring it down into the top of the guide. Very slowly. I can come my direction. That is in between two rock backs. Okay, same here. Good. Needs to come my direction, just maybe a half an inch. Okay. Now let's bring it on down. And bring it down more. Okay.
Stop. All stop. I think the roll cue we need to give you from inside here.
Go ahead.
And the car,
yes.
You need to bring your side down so it's a roll.
Okay, how's that?
It's still not level. So the car,
yes.
Look.
Okay.
And that looks good. And the arm is coming down.
Okay. Yeah, the boom is now horizontal. I'm pitching up.
Copy, sir.
with us in Mission Control providing insight is astronaut Tammy Jernigan. Tammy, Takao is extending the crane, turning that handle without foot restraint, and from a body position that looks somewhat difficult. Is that on purpose?
Well, one of the things that we hope to evaluate during this crane checkout is various body positions to facilitate operation of the crane and also to have insight as to where that crane boom is going. That crane boom extends out to over 17 feet, so obviously you have to have good visibility into where the crane's going so you don't bump into anything, but you also have to be able to operate the mechanisms, and right now Takao is trying different body positions to see which is best to operate the crane.
Columbia, Houston for Kevin.
In the foreground you can see the power tool called the pistol grip tool.
That you just read to us.
And Takao has used that to extend the crane. The crane can be extended in a motorized fashion or can be extended manually by rotating a handle. There are 3 handles on the crane. One is to move the crane from side to side or yaw the crane. The other is to move the crane up and down or pitch the crane. And then the 3rd handle is for the manual extension and retraction of the crane.
Takao, your backpack is very close to the Spartan telescope. Takao, 1 counterclockwise.
Okay, 1 contact required.
Alpha 4.
Alpha 4 is set.
Motor.
Motor is set.
At 23.5.
23.5 is set.
We are going to fully...
And Tammy, with the battery now on the end of the arm, they're going to be doing the same evaluations that were done earlier with the arm by itself?
That's correct. They will be, again, maneuvering the crane from side to side and up and down and in and out. Roll and pitch and yaw and extension and retraction with the battery on board. Again, the battery and subcarrier weigh close to 500 pounds, and so you're going to look at the handling characteristics of the crane when it's loaded up as opposed to the handling characteristics when there was nothing on that crane. Having completed most of the operations with the crane loaded with the battery and subcarrier, the crew is now ready to remove that subcarrier from the end of the crane and then rebirth the subcarrier into the guides on the sill. Takao is extending the battery across the payload bay to its stowage location.
Columbia, Houston, we're getting beautiful video of that. That's a real nice view.
And Winston, the battery is coming towards you.
Okay. There's release. Okay, Takao, pitch the crane down, please. Okay, pitch down the crane. The release position, lock position, lease position, and soft dock position of the subcarrier itself, the actuator Exhibit A. All of that mechanism worked really nicely. Okay, Steve, would you move me starboard out of the bay, please? How about starboard?
Takao is moving the crane out of the way so that Winston, with the help of the RMS operator, Steve Lindsay, can put the subcarrier and battery into position to berth back into the payload bay.
It's relatively easy to control. Okay. Stop. Stop.
And also, Winston, I had to move you up a little bit to make sure your tethers would clear, so that may have been why.
Okay, that's great. No problem. Thanks for letting me know. 日本の皆さん、宇宙からこんにちは。データ側です。ウィンストンと私は素晴らしい EVA を、やることができて本当に満足しています。宇宙から見る地球の姿は本当に素晴らしくて、本当に胸を打ちます。また、地球から目を離して、宇宙自体を見上げると、その壮大さに本当に感動します。宇宙が私たちを呼んでいるような気がしました。皆さん本当に応援どうもありがとう。Okay, Kevin, I'm finished.
Great, you've had enough fun. I'd put your toys away and come back in.
Okay. Okay, tethers are configured. I mean, they're inside of the carrier box. They're all latched down, flat retracted. And yours truly is going to make his exit or make his entry, whichever you look at it.
Okay, Winston, then the call once you get in, set water on.
Okay, Colleen was all right.
Good morning, Columbia. We know you're ready to play and that you've even brought a ball with you. So I guess it's time to go spacewalking.
You got that right. We'll have a ball playing with the ball. And it's not center field with the Yankees, but it's the next best thing.
Can't have everything.
This view from one of the payload bay cameras looking up at the shuttle's robotic arm attached to the Spartan satellite. The red dots on the satellite, the targets that will be used for this experiment operations with the video guidance sensor. This experiment using the Spartan satellite as a target and will collect tracking data both when the target is moving and also when the satellite is in a static or a fixed position. And as mentioned, the orbiter will be maneuvered as well to allow the video guidance sensor's performance to be tested under different lighting conditions, also 16 different positions as well as distances, by maneuvering the robotic arm to various locations around the payload bay. Sensor testing visible now with the laser targeting underway. This is position number 7.
Through the mid-deck input and payload 3, currently the flight deck input is on to the camera. And that's it. And that's configured to correct.
Jumping from star to star. That's all I do. Looking for you.
Yeah.
And I know that you are out there.
Drop down.
Looking for me too. Got my best fit on. We're gonna have some fun tonight.
We copy.
Are you ready?
Copy and concur.
The wrecking machine, setting your dreams of heaven on fire. Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine. Gonna ignite your every desire. Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city you burn, I'm gonna build one higher. Target locked, guns are hot. Full speed ahead. Bang, bang, you're dead. You may think you have a shot to take me down. Victory's mine instead. Got my best fit on. We're gonna have some fun tonight. Are you ready for a setting your dreams of heaven on fire? Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine. Gonna ignite your every desire. Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city you burn, let it burn, let it burn.
Okay, here we go. And that was successful. I have a successful soft dock. Again, there is compliance in the crane. It moves a little bit, but not very much. I just made maybe 6 or 8 inches before I got soft dock. I'm going to release it and try that same thing for one more time. Okay, it's released. It's back in soft dock. I'll do the same thing. Now, of course, I'm looking underneath the cable caddy at the grid and the dogs to be sure that I line them up before I insert it. But here we go again. And I have soft stop. That was good. I'd give it an 8 for the small ORU. That was real nice. Michelle, would you yaw the crane just a bit more towards me, please? Okay. Yaw the crane towards you. That's good. Thank you. Stop. That's it. Okay, the ball dogs are in. I'm going to rock it. Yeah, I got a good, successful soft stop the second time with the sideways. I've got 8, 4. I need 3 counterclockwise and MTL is 3.5 physics.
Yes, all of those are good and it's going to take 5 turns.
5 turns, right to that. Here we go. Okay, there's 5 turns, and I'm sure you're watching in case and maybe Houston, but you can see the right side move away from me as I attempted to depress the guard that to drive the boat. I can only move maybe a foot, and I was able to do it successfully. During the pitch motion, it's pretty stable. Okay, going. Let's just see if you can set the flag. Yeah, you got it good. That was the easiest it's been thus far. Okay, all 4 are done. So complete, Casey.
Yeah, sure, it's very good from here. If you want to head towards the sprint, with the UIU tether, you can transfer the UIU tether to your decimal trigger and then get sprint.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, Steve, here we go. I've released it, and I'm moving back out of the way. KT, I'm ready to start the VRT. Head off. Stand by there, camera over here. Okay.
Houston for Sprint, to give you guys a target, we would like to initiate step 14 at 1740 in 20 minutes.
Copy. And Houston, Columbia, I'd just like to pass on to the entire Sprint team. You know, it's a real small group of people working on this, and they work very hard, and I think they got a real winner here. They hit a home run. You can pass on that the flying motors were definitely level 1. It flew even better than I expected. So we're real pleased, and I think we got a real good piece of technology for use maybe on a station and later shuttle flights.
Good morning, Columbia. We, of course, were playing the flight of the Bumblebee, and we thought it would be appropriate with all the pollination that Leonid has been doing over the past 14 days. And, of course, yesterday when we saw the Sprint Free Flyer in the payload bay, it reminded us of a Bumblebee buzzing around above it. So we thought that was a good selection. Good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you very much. Today is a very important day for Q experiment. Today I will finish the collaborative Ukraine experiment on board Columbia.
And we think you've done a great job so far, Leonid. Keep it up. One more day.
Thank you very much. And you too.
Columbia, Hello, Colombia. This is Prime Minister Gujral from India. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Gujral, I hear you loud and clear. How do you read me?
Kalpana, we are proud of you. Each one of us in India is proud of us. Proud of a person like you who has done such a pioneering work. And particularly the women and youth of India, a great deal of pride in seeing what you have done in the space. My hearty congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You know, when I think of you, I think what a long journey you have covered from Karnal to space, long distance. And therefore, when I talk to you, I feel I'm talking to a person who is representing India in the space now. My all good wishes to you.
Thank you, sir, very much. Those are very kind words.
You know, Kalpana, I do not know if you remember, there is a saying by one of our poets who is very well known in the subcontinent, Iqbal. He said, "Sitaron se aage jahan aur bhi hain." There are worlds beyond stars, and now you have seen them. How do you feel about them?
It's a very special feeling, and really out here, the night sky, when you look at it, what you are saying does become very literal. It's a dome of a dark sky and stars everywhere, and the earth, a lot of time covered with thunderstorms here and there, with some small sprays of lightning, and every once in a while, city lights the clouds. And it is very much like a storybook. And the crew that I'm working with out here, all of us work so well together, and it's such an honor and privilege to be able to share this very special mission with them.
You know, it's a wonderful feeling that your journey has expanded the frontiers of science and technology. And also at the same time, you have built another new and very formidable and a strong bridge between India and America.
Sir, I'm very glad that I am, if you say so, I'm able to do that.
And in orbit, Kalpana, how do you feel without weightlessness? Is it very difficult experience?
As you can tell, right now we are doing a burn, and things are just moving all over. I was just moving things out of my way with my legs. Actually, it's not very difficult at all. You get very used to it very fast. Though to go from one place to another, you always end up telling yourself, take it easy, don't try to do very fast, because otherwise you are just tumbling all over. So gently is the way to go.
It must be very interesting to sit with colleagues and friends in the same weightlessness. Is it a very interesting experience and friendship that you have formed now?
That's very true, sir. On our crew, we have people from very different backgrounds, and we bring a lot of different cultures together, and it's just a lot of fun. It was fun while we trained together, and now in space too.
I don't know if from your satellite you can see some other Indian satellites also, which are also in the space, projecting Indian television program to every home.
And yes, sir, I'm aware of that.
Yes, but you know, we are also, our scientists and our technologists are sharing the same experience of space. They have not gone themselves to space like you, but they have sent quite a few satellites.
And yes, sir, yeah, I knew about that when I was going to school back in Karnal. or I should say in Chandigarh in India. And then also after I came here, I've been following that in the news out here.
And I want to extract a promise from you that when you come back to the Earth, please come to India with all your friends in the satellite and also your whole family.
Sir, the whole crew would love to come, and that would be an honor.
You will be most welcome guest of the Indian people and the government. They all take so much pride in you and excited about you that when you come and meet them, they'll be extremely delighted, and you must come.
So yes, we will surely come, and like I said, that's definitely an honor. And if I may just take a second, I'd like to introduce my crew members to you. And first of all, I'm going to bring the pilot on board. His name is Steve Lindsay, and Steve and I trained together in the class that I came in.
Thank you very much, but also kindly convey my invitation to your fellow travelers who are in space with you, the captain and everybody else.
For sure, sir.
Please, and tell them that this is a very warm and hearty invitation to all of you.
I will pass that on, sir.
And you know, Kalpana, you come originally, your family came from Karnal. And it was in that area where a famous poet Kalidas was there, who wrote that famous song about Swim of the Swan.
Yes, and I know about that, and that's a very special thing.
And you are that swan now swimming in the space.
That does sound good.
And thank you very much. Once again, my feeling of thanks to you for all that you have performed. You have made all of us proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling us on the orbiter. And if you would just take a second, a couple of days ago, we taped a view of Himalayas from the orbiter, and I'll downlink it to you for a minute or so, and we can be talking while that's happening.
Thank you.
And Mr. Prime Minister and all the people from India, we taped this view a few days ago. I was hoping that maybe by chance when the call came, we'd be flying over some regions that folks there were familiar with. But the view of Himalayas is so magnificent that it really belongs to all of us, as you can see on this video. Thank you very much.
Kevin, good morning for us. I think good afternoon or good evening for you. It's amazing that we are on day 76 of our 91-day stay in this chamber, and you're on day 14 or 15 out of one more day to go. And we feel that the end of this test is right around the corner. We're wondering, it's strange to see that we may have the same feelings on different duration flights.
Well, Nazir, you're right. We're just about ready to finish our mission. We only have one day left, but it sure has flown by. I hope yours has done the same. If you're doing some good work and you're doing some good science and good research and for a good cause, things tend to go very quickly. I just want to say hi to yourself and to Vicki. We missed her and all the food that she supports with, and also to John and Laura. And if I could, I want to show you one thing. Now, I was there when you went into the chamber, and we've chatted a couple of times over email. And you folks came up with a possible problem with iodine in the water. And as you know, that was a last-minute addition to our flight. And thanks to your research that you're doing, and then the folks on the ground find a solution, we have that incorporated right here. And let me show you. There's your filtration system that takes out our iodized water. We also have the filter. And as you can see, it just tucks in quite nicely between our cabinet on the Mar and the galley. So it really hasn't been an inconvenience at all. The water comes out a little bit slower, but hopefully in the long-term health benefits, especially on the shuttle and the International Space Station, we'll all benefit from it.
Certainly can sympathize with you on that one, Kevin. And the hardware you have in your hand is one that I had slated for STS-89, but I guess we'll get another one for Terry for that. We'd like to hand it on to John now. I think he has a couple of other questions for you.
Morning. I'm glad to see that something that one of our former test directors worked on worked great in the payload bay. Ed Moore was Nigel's test director for his 15 days with the wheat plants, and he was also one of the key guys working on the Sprint cam. I was wondering what your thoughts were on his performance in the CVA.
Well, we're real happy to get a second chance for do a spacewalk and to fly the Sprint. And Steve did the flying of the Sprint, and if you saw any pictures of it, it just handled like a dream. It actually handled handling qualities better than the simulator in the virtual reality lab. It really has tremendous potential. The video was a little bit intermittent, but we knew that going into the test because the antennas aren't optimized at this time. But I think for future shuttle missions and definitely on the International Space Station, that technology really has great potential. And this is a homegrown Johnson Space Center project. It was done under a very tight budget, and the guys really did hit a grand slam. It just worked great.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Pilot Jim Halsell will command the landing gear at about 300 feet. The landing gear is now down. Main gear touchdown. nose gear touchdown. Columbia completing its 17th voyage in space, completing 236 orbits of the Earth, rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center, completing 6,143,000 miles.
Houston, Columbia, wheel stop.
Roger, wheel stop. Welcome home, Columbia. Excellent, excellent job. Your record of 15 days on orbit for the shuttle has brought us closer to the next giant leap for humankind when we live permanently in space aboard the International Space Station.
Well, thank you, Charlie. It's great to be home. We're all feeling great, and it was a super flight, and thanks to everybody for all the fine help.
Very quiet here in Mission Control. All of Columbia's systems continuing to perform in excellent fashion. No issues at all in the room. Sonic booms announcing Columbia's arrival in the landing area. Landing gear is now down. Main gear touchdown. And nose gear touchdown. Columbia completing its 17th voyage in space, completing 236 orbits of the Earth, rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center, completing 6,143,000 miles.
Flight repositioning is completed and the probes are in transit.
Thank you.
On glide slope on center line.
Okay, on and on.
Columbia, Houston, on glide slope on center line, surface winds 150 at 4.
Roger. Maneuver complete. Houston, Columbia, wheel stop.
Roger, wheel stop. Welcome home, Columbia. Excellent, excellent job. Your record of 15 days on orbit for the shuttle has brought us closer to the next giant leap for humankind when we live permanently in space aboard the International Space Station.